Spartans! What is your profession?
Today I want to talk about something that is on most thinking people's mind in this country, and that's the upcoming election. But today I don't want to talk about who's on the ballot. I want to talk about what's on the ballot. What are we actually voting for in this country? What are we actually fighting for? The other day I had a conversation with some old guys, some old country boys that come into my gym from time to time just to talk about what's going on. And one of the bros brought a new guy in, and he was talking about the state of affairs. And in this conversation, he made a statement that a lot of people make, and it was in the context of someone needs to step up and do whatever it was that he was, standing champion for. And I asked him, I asked him, who is exactly is this supposed to be? Who are you waiting for to step in and fix this problem? And like most people, he was dumbfounded. The answer is always this political candidate, somebody that we're supposed to go punch a ticket for. And I think that's a problem. If you've been paying attention, it's pretty obvious that there's no interest in taking care of the people of this country. As a matter of fact, it seems to me that there's no interest in this country remaining what it was, an independent republic. And so, like most people, I've never been political. I think like most people, I have believed this narrative that my vote doesn't count, and that the machine is so overwhelming, and it's perhaps it's fixed, and all of the different things. And I believed these things until Donald Trump was elected the first time. I, like a lot of people, expected Hillary to get in. And when the machine had this interruption and this man came in and caused so much chaos, it made me really start to pay attention to what was going on, because he was obviously not part of this system. There's a problem with that. And so I've never been a fan of him either. That's another thing that changed. During his time where everybody was celebrating him, where he was everyone, I kind of thought he was a douchebag. He reminded me a lot of the frat boys in college, that they were just kind of dicks. And so I never was a fan of the guy. But when I saw how the machine turned on him again, it made me start to think, okay, there's something to this. And so over the past almost 8 years, we've seen a drastic difference in policy, in the opinion about what America is supposed to be. Now, I am an old dude. I'm 54 now, and I'm a Christian. I don't lean to be Republican or Democratic, because I think that that's a bird that flies the same direction no matter which wing you decide to carry yourself on. I choose to look at policy. I look at how these things affect my life. And I have to be honest, this is the first year that I've ever voted in an election, because, again, I had this viewpoint that it didn't matter. And perhaps it doesn't matter. But what I do know is we have ceded so much ground, so much power, and I've seen so many changes in the wrong direction since I was a child. The things that were once problematic in this country, the things that were such a stain on our history, they seem to be rectifying themselves. Everything seemed to be going in the right direction. And then Barack Obama got into office, and it went haywire. It was chaos, the divisions, the chasms that were once large fractures and had become just small fissures became Grand Canyon size. And all of a sudden, these groups that have become so vociferous and so destructive in this country were given platform. They were given precedence over everything. And now the order of things have been completely inverted. And we've got all of these marginalized groups that are doing better than most people in this world. but yet they have been taught, they have been brainwashed into believing that they've got it so bad, and they've been used as instruments to destroy everything in this country. And so, you know, this brings me to the point again of this video. We have a lot of marginalized groups, and three in particular. There's the female side with the F-isms. You've got the BLM protesters, the people that think that America owes them money, and America is a systematically racist place, and the white man's holding them down. And then we got the alphabet community that has been overtaken by this transformer community, which have been given access to our children. And when you look at the policies, when you look at what's on the ballot, not who's on the ballot, there's very clear parties in this. One party believes in family. They believe in children being born. They believe in providing a structure to where children can grow up in healthy homes. And the other party believes in sacrificing their children to demons, exposing their children to what was once, and rightfully so, considered an abomination, exposing children to explicit things in their most formative years. And so when I look at these three factions, all I see is useful idiots that Stalin spoke about. And each one of these groups would have you to believe that they're the most marginalized group of people in this country, and they're the ones that need to be centered and paid attention to the most. If I was to ask you though, I want to play a little game. If you were to take a wild guess of what was the most marginalized group of people in this world, who were the most expendable people in this world, who were the most seen through people in this world, who would you guess it to be? Would you say it was the sexually frustrated, confused people who want to chop their dicks off? Would you say it's the multitude of black folks that have failed to take advantage of the numerous policies that have been used to try to make amends for the past? The affirmative action, the lowering of test scores to get in, all of these things, these multiple avenues to break away from this system. Is it them? Or maybe it's the poor women, poor ladies that are still under the thumb of the horrible patriarchy. Men are still keeping them back and trying to keep them away from their reproductive health. You see, all of these groups, to me, when I hear their complaints, all I hear is a bunch of people that are losers, a bunch of people that are using these ideas, this ideology to nullify their choices in life, to keep them from taking responsibility and accountability for the choices that they've made that have led them to this point. To me, the most marginalized people, and the reason why I believe that America is prime, fit for judgment and possibly destruction, the most marginalized group of human beings in this country are the 930,000 children, and this is from 2020, that were evacuated from their mothers because their mother made a choice to go for her career, or it wasn't the right guy, or whatever it was. 930,000 children rendered unborn because of the mother's right. You see, I think that people you have the ability to do whatever it is that you want. But if and when a woman decides to terminate a child out of convenience, we're going to call that health care. It's not health care at all. That's a 187, all the way a 187. Because if you reverse the roles and a man didn't want that to happen and he decided to cancel that child, that dude would be in prison for the rest of his life, and rightfully so. But what we're doing right now, we're voting on a party that thinks that it's okay to sacrifice our children, born and unborn, to these demons. And that right there is that's the biggest problem I have with this whole situation right now. This woman let America and everybody else with a television or a cell phone or internet hookup She let them see exactly who she was when she told those young boys that they were in the wrong rally when they said that Jesus is king. This election isn't about Trump and cum shot. It's not about that. It's not about Republican and Democrat. It's not about that. This whole thing is an election between right and wrong, good and evil, God and Satan. It's that simple. If you look at the policies that these people have put through, if you have looked at the legislation and the push, all the commercials, everything, this is demonic. It's anti-God, it's anti-man, it's anti-family, it's anti-everything that made this country what it was. And all the losers and dummies that talk about how horrible America is, go somewhere else. Take that belief system and go somewhere else and see how welcome you are, and see how awesome the rest of the world is. This election is about life and death. It's that simple. And it's easy to look at that and go, oh man, you're being a little bit extreme there. But how is that so? Without children being born, there is no family. The denial of God is undeniable at this point. And our children are being taught in school to hate our country. At a very minimum, it's the life and death of this nation. But it's more than that. It's way more than that. This, like the Bible says, this is not a battle between men. We're being used as pawns by the gods that rule this world. And so many people have yielded themselves to these gods. And if they believe that they haven't, you simply need to look at what you covet the most. I don't look to man for my rules. I don't look to man to guide my life. But on this planet, on this earth, I look to the men that are given to us to lead. And my job is to match whatever it is that I believe to the closest thing that we're offered. And while right now there is no perfection, there is an obvious difference between these two choices. One is pro-life, and one is pro-death. It's as simple as that. And the fact that the biggest platform that this so-called black woman has to stand on, the thing that gets her the most traction, is the elimination of children, that should make that choice very easy. But I think that one of the most critical things right now, especially for men to understand, that it has been men's fault that we have yielded so much ground. It's men's fault that we have allowed the fabric of this nation to be unraveled so that certain people wouldn't get their feelings hurt. But those people aren't worried about your feelings. Those people aren't even worried about your children. And I know there are some men that watch this channel that have had a woman go and terminate their child. And some men even supported that because they didn't want to take responsibility. Both parties are wrong in this. This lack of morality, this lack of self-awareness, this selfishness that has taken over our country has destroyed our country. And men are supposed to be leaders. And if that's the case, it's men's fault that we have gotten off track this far. And for that same reason, it's men's responsibility to get it back on track. A large number of men do not participate in this, and a lot more have checked out recently. And I understand that. But you men need to understand this. Just because you stand on the sidelines in a war doesn't mean that the bombs aren't still going to drop right at your front doorstep. The best thing that you can do right now is to engage. Engage and stand up for what you believe in right now, because you are not alone. White men, black men, Mexican men, all American men right now have come to the gate, that come to the line and said, we've got to make a change. Men have got to go to these ballots. You've got to make sure that the men in your group go to this ballot and cast a vote if for no other reason to know that you tried, and if things go awry, you know everybody will know what they did. This is not because I'm standing on one side or the other. I'm a Christian and I'm a man. And as a Christian man, it is my task, it is my duty to protect those who cannot protect themselves. And these children that these people want to legislate the execution of, these are the most vulnerable among all of us. And the best thing that we can do as men is stop giving these women a reason to go do this. It's easy to point the finger and go, oh, look at them, they're standing and voting for this. Men have to comply with women on that level for them to even have to go do this. It is men's responsibility to be leaders. What's on the ballot right now is none of the things that these people are citing. It's none of the things that the Democratic side and the Republican side have historically fought for. We are in a spiritual war. We are in a spiritual war right now. We are all being used as pieces on this chessboard. Whether you make a decision for this side or that side or no side, you're making a choice. Whatever choice you make, whatever decision you make it for the right reasons. Know what's really on the ballot and find out which side you want to stand on. Good side, evil side, God side, or the demon side. That's the two things that are on this ballot right now. Out.